Fatality. Flawless victory.
Alrighty then. Nope, that wouldn't fix it. Part 2 of the Williams Major League Pitch and Bat. Stripping. And I ain't talking about my clothes. I don't want to scare people off. Alrighty. So, what we've done so far is remove all the hardware off the cabinet. Alright, so the coin door. We got the coin door off. The bottom panel, I've stored it. The panel for the, I don't know what I call it, translate if anything, and where the home run shot is, and all the screws, bells, and whistles, and everything. And what we're going to do now is try to recreate the graphics. I would try to recreate them on, trace them on acetate, but the problem is that we have a cab that was painted green. What I use in cases like this is I use a paint remover, a paint stripper. This brand here, Super Remover, from superremover.com. I don't know. I don't know where the brand is, but it's one I use. You can get it at Home Depot. They say #1 in Canada. It works very well. It's also a bit slow acting, which is what I want in this case. The reason being is I just want to lay down just enough to get that top coat bubbling off, and then I'll just scrape it off gently to expose the original paint under, which would be more resistant normally. In most cases, these cabs have been repainted with latex or just more modern oil-based paint, and under it is usually old school, very tough as nails, chemically based paint, regular oil paint that was really tough and would kind of resist a bit more to paint stripper. But like I said, it's a trial and error thing, because if you put too much down or leave it down too long, you kind of remove the old paint, and if you don't leave it down long enough, you're not removing enough of the top paint to expose your original graphics. But first thing first, guys, if you're going to use paint remover, any type of paint stripper or any harsh chemical, #1, good rubber gloves. I'm not kidding. #2, get some wear a long sleeve shirt. #3, facial protection if you can, or at a minimum eye protection. I can't stress this enough. I've had cases where this stuff has splashed by accident, or working at a tight confine like my shop here. You just trip a bit over something, spill some on you, and it burns. So you want to make sure you're properly protected at all times when we're working with this stuff. Like I mentioned, you can sometimes expose the graphics or sometimes screw it up. In this case, it was like I said, it's always trial and error. What you want to do is grab a cabinet side first and a back box side and try it out. The last surface you want to do is usually the front of the cabinet here, for the simple reason being is that there's no other surface that matches it, while usually the cabinets have mirror image sides on them, and so do the back boxes. So in this case, I tried on the left side first. I timed it on the cabinet. I removed too much. It didn't work out very well. I did the back box, got a bit better results but a shorter time. And when I went to do the right side back box and cabinet, it came out pretty good. So let's just take a look quickly at the graphics we got. I know you guys can see this angle in the front. I just removed enough of the green paint to see here we got stripes right where the coin door is. Alright. Let me turn this over nice and easy. And I'll grab the camera. Alright, so we can see here we got the stripes from the front the tan colored stripes under white paint, but this looks antique. It'll be white again. Once I strip it here, I stripped a bit here, and you can see it's white. So the stripes keep going, the tan stripes go on this side until it hits this orange ring. And then we have the hand of the baseball player holding the bat. Here's the handle, second hand with the fingers. The handle, the bat, which extends towards here, which you can't see very well, but it's right here. Then we got the face, orange, black, tan. Pretty straightforward. It's a bit of a long job because it's a 4-color job. So we got base coat, and then we lay down the orange, then we lay down the tan, then we lay down the black. Alright? And the back box came out well here. Well, the baseball came out fantastically. It just came out popping. The bats here, yeah, so the tan paint is a bit rough. So we got the handles here, and the bats extend on like a cross pattern here. If I show you the left side of the cabinet, this is where you'll see where it didn't go so well, but that's okay. It's like I said, it's a mirror image. Where you see here the back box, the baseball came out okay, but the bats are barely there, and the rest is just gone, other than the little spot here for the face. And you can kind of see the hands there a bit. I mean, the rest is just gone. So this I'm going to just strip down completely and use the other side as a mirror image. Now, other thing that often gets neglected in these cabinet jobs, which is a sad thing, is metal polishing. I understand that people don't always do it, merely because it takes a lot of equipment to do so. I have 7 grinding wheels on which I've bolted on polishing wheels that I use different compounds to be able to get a polish. And even then, sometimes we can't do miracles. If you saw it quickly on the first video, on the control panel I had the bat and a button. Now I've polished these up. The bat came out pretty decent, but the plating is kind of shot on the top here. I mean, I could leave it as is, and I'm sure the owner will be happy, but I'll see what I can do with this. Maybe I'll just do like a bat pattern and painted wood and color and with a black stripe here and clear coat it. That would be nice as well. I'll see what I'll do with that. The button came out fantastic. This was like tarnished like dirt. It was just really bad. It wasn't rusted, but really bad. And I buffed it out pretty nice. What we're going to do on this cabinet is pretty much buff everything. Even got the on the coin door, I'm going to buff that as well. And even the inserts for where it says 10 cents and 25 cents, if you saw in the first video, they were just dull and no paint on them, while the contour and the numbers on that plate should be clear, like a nice polished steel, and whatever in between should be metal. The trick for that is you just lay down a quick coat of paint, and once it's dry, you lay down a piece of glass with a very thin sandpaper, like maybe 2000 grit, 1500 maybe max. Yeah, I guess you can use 800, and just slowly rub it like in a circular motion to basically sand down the surface where the coins are, the coin letterings are, and the contour to expose the metal, and the rest stays painted. And then maybe a clear coat if you want to go that way. Alright, so the next step now will be to trace those stencils. I have a roll of acetate I got at Omer de Serre. You can get at Michael's art stores. It costs about $100 for a few hundred feet. And once that's traced, all 3 colors, accent colors, I'm going to sand this down. I'm going to strip it a bit more, and then sand it down. Now, why do I use paint stripper instead of just sanding it like through? For the simple reason that these cabinets use, like I said, lead-based paint. You don't want to sand this and breathe in all the dust. Even though I use a shop vac connected to my sander with a fine dust bag inside, I rather not take a chance. If I can use paint stripper to get the most of it off, I will. And this doesn't attack the wood, so that's great. And then once I've done that, and I'll let it dry 24 hours, then I'll go with the sander, and there's a lot less dust and uneven sanding. Then it does a much cleaner job. Use a small little orbital sander for most parts inside. I have a mouse sander for all the corners. We're gonna sand all these little parts here. Then I got all these parts in here, the wood for deflectors. This is basically a ledge. We're gonna sand this down. See, it's kind of flaking. This is a ledge that's inside here to make sure the ball goes into a trough here. Once it hits the targets, it rolls down into a trough. So I'm going to sand this down and varnish it. It'll just give it a good coat of protection on this, because this is a bit worn out and dirty. I got another bumper here as well that goes in the back, a rail in the back. Same principle. I'm just going to sand this down. This goes over here in the back. It's got a channel in the back for the home run balls, and make sure it goes straight down into the trough. And like I said, after that, it's a whole bunch of polishing. I got the coin door here. We're going to buff that down, give it a good shine, as well as clean everything out inside. I got a bit of rust here. I'm going to buff that down and do a good job. It's not really dented. I got a bit of metal work on the edge. I got a little hammer for that to hammer that back. The rest of the mechanisms, everything's good. So yeah, we're on our way. So video part 3 will be wood repair. So once we have this thing all sanded down and no paint left and we're ready to go, there's 2 different products, well almost 3 that I use, 2 different Bondos and a wood filler to fix up the cabinet. So I'll get into detail on that and on part 3. Alright, so I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. You can email me at sparky@maca.org, or join me on Maca and maca.org, and you can send me a private message there. I'll gladly answer you, or answer you directly on these YouTube videos. Be glad to help you out. Don't hesitate. Any questions you got, any hesitations, if you see a machine that you like and you're not sure, hey, is it worth it or not, hey, let me know. Maybe I can help you out a bit. Stay tuned for part 3, and I'll catch you guys later.